Game live 49ers defeating those Houston Texans 23-17. Niners one step closer to being a playoff team in January of 2022. Welcome to the new year, by the way, to all the listeners out there. Trey Lance led 49ers victorious Sunday. Let's get into all of what we saw in this football game right now.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker with you. And I see everybody already jumping into the chat as we are live immediately following this Week 17 matchup where the 49ers defeated those Houston Texans 23-7 at BD Peacock on Twitter, at Eric Crocker on Twitter. A victory Monday for those of you listening on your audio podcast platforms. Welcome to you as well. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on whatever platform you are listening to this episode of Locked On 49ers. Crocky, how'd you feel about this one? The rookie, Trey Lance, maybe a little shaky early, and the Niners really poured it on a little bit late in this 23-7 win.
You know, I think the good thing is shaky early on for Trey Lance was completing 10 out of 13 passes, right? So, you know, I look at it. I went into it with an open mind of not knowing exactly what I was going to see, but we'll discuss it. I liked it. I liked what I saw. We'll get more into the details of it, but overall, I liked what I saw. Trey area.
Touchdown, Trey area.
I know the listeners wanted to hear the Sounders, so we'll just get to those early there with the 49ers and scoring some points behind the young rookie in Trey Lance. Let's start with the bad and get it out of the way, because really the bad was maybe things look a little sped up early in the game, and the one interception to George Kittle, because I think there's a lot of good to get to with Trey Lance and the 49ers in this game. But it did look early like maybe Kyle Shanahan was struggling to find his rhythm, find what kind of plays he wanted to call for Trey Lance. Lance was holding on to the ball quite a bit. He did roll out a few times and extend some plays and make a couple of big throws in the first quarter. But overall, early on, even though he was completing, what was it, 10 of 13 in the first half, right?
10 of 13 with an interception.
Yeah. But there's the one interception to George Kittle. What do you think happened on that play? Was that George Kittle? Was that Trey Lance not seeing the defender underneath George Kittle? Because he was looking over there. And to me, live, I thought it looked like he saw the defender underneath, saw the defender over the top, and thought he could hit the whole shot to George Kittle. And clearly it was designed to go there. Maybe that wasn't the right place to go with the football after all, but he didn't move off of it. There was still a throw to be made, although a difficult throw, but he way underthrew that. And so maybe in the end, he didn't see the defender underneath.
The way that he threw it tells me he didn't see the underneath defender. Now, ideally, you would like him to see that guy. Somebody came into the flat on kind of a shallow. I think it actually might have been George Kittle. And the underneath defender was down and then kind of sunk with it. And then he tried to, like you said, fit that in there. Wasn't able to do it. You know, obviously on the replay, they showed Deebo Samuel open to the backside. And my response to that was, I have never, in all the time I've been seeing this league play, which has been since 2017, I've started to see a bunch of teams use it. I've never seen anyone get to the backside of it. All right. So what that means a lot of times, and people don't understand this, there are you have the full field when you line up at the ball, at the snap. A lot of times you pick the side that you want to start your progressions or a matchup that you like, and you work off of that. So when you have tight end leak, you know you're going there no matter what. So you have the tight end leak. He's sitting, he's waiting. It's a very long developing play. It takes a while for the tight end or fullback or whoever to drag from one side to the other and sneak up there. So when you see a Deebo Samuel get open right now, 9.9 times out of 10, quarterback's not going to see that because the progression is from left to right. So I get it. You see a guy, and I said the same thing about Jimmy Garoppolo on this play against the Seahawks where you had tight end leak. He threw it to Kittle, but I brought it up like, hey, this is not in the progression to throw the post, but if they want it, it's there, right? You had Trent Sherfield get open on the post. That's just not the way the play is designed. best case scenario right there would be for him to just not throw that ball or throw a better pass. But I can, again, you don't want to see him doing those things consistently, but if that and maybe the one before the half were kind of the two like low moments, I can live with that in someone's second start.
And I see all of it, all the users in the chat talking about the Saints game, and I'm keeping one eye on the Saints game that's still ongoing. If the Saints do fall to the Panthers, the 49ers could clinch that playoff spot. It doesn't look like it's trending in that direction. Shadow 49er, CJ Gardner-Johnson, by the way, just sacking Sam Darnold. Panthers down 18-10 with a minute left there. They've got a 2nd and 19 on the screen that I'm currently looking at. So it's not looking good for the Panthers to knock off the Saints, but the Niners still have control for the most part next week if they're able to win, but they still need one of the Eagles or the Saints to lose, preferably the Saints, who have the Panthers this week. They have the who do they have next week? The Falcons they have next week, and the Eagles have the Dallas Cowboys. So that's what's going on with the playoff push for the 49ers. So unless the Panthers are able to have a miraculous comeback here and get a 2-point conversion and tie that thing up and push it into overtime, it's looking like it's going to go on to week 18 before we know who those playoff teams are going to be in the NFC. We talked about, and yeah, you're right, Croc. We talked about numerous times with Jimmy Garoppolo doing that, and sometimes getting locked into the first thing. And maybe if you see it there, you don't know that on the backside of the play, there's going to be somebody breaking wide open. So if you think there's a throw to be made with your first read that the play's designed to go to, you're going to go there. And Jimmy does that all the time. And there's always those plays where you come back and you look at it again. And you're like, oh, backside of the play. Someone was deep on a crosser, on a post, whatever, wide open. And you're right. They never get to that. They never do. So, I fault the throw more than the decision, I think, because I think he saw the underneath defender because he was looking over there. I don't know how he couldn't have seen that defender, but maybe he didn't. But anyway, it was really the worst play, even though things felt a little disjointed.
The one before the half, too, though. There was a defender kind of, and the 49ers were trying to high-low that guy. You had Ayuk over the top. You had Hasty underneath. And instead of taking the underneath pass to Hasty, he tried to fit it over the top to Ayuk. Now, obviously, it got through because the defender dropped it. Yeah. But, again, I'm looking – when I went into this game, it's what's going to be my takeaway in the sense of just where he is. It wasn't about, like, seeing this miraculous performance or thinking that he's going to come out looking better than Jimmy Garoppolo or anything like that. It was really just where is he? Where is he at in his progression? And even with the first half, I was like – I could see maybe not quite seeing the field as well as Jimmy would in a sense of just knowing where guys are, getting the ball out of his hands quick. But there are some things that he did well off of that, just with where he is right now in his development, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, there was a couple other passes aside from the interceptions that did touch hands of Texans defenders, but luckily those things didn't get picked off, and Trey Lance did make a couple throws. I actually even liked the throw that he missed to Ayuk in the end zone too, that Ayuk tried to make a one-handed catch on. And but and then there was the other one on the other side of the field, deep down on the left side, that he attempted the throw. And you and I have talked about that so much, is so many good things. And we see it against the Niners all the time where guys throw it deep and maybe their receiver makes a play for them, or there's a pass interference penalty. And the Niners have gotten flagged, 19 times, I think the most in the league this year on those types of plays. And the 49ers never try that. So I love seeing them try that with Ayuk. And Ayuk maybe isn't the best at 50-50 balls. Niners don't really have that, style of 50-50 ball player that we've talked about that I hope they address in the offseason to help young Trey out in 2022. But good things can happen there. And, an incomplete pass is okay. An interception you don't want, but if you throw it in a way that you can give your receiver a chance to make a play, and good things happen. Maybe he does make a play. Maybe it's a touchdown. Maybe it's just a long pass interference penalty, which the 49ers got in this one. So I like seeing some aggressive throws, which obviously that's the one thing you don't get with Jimmy that you do get with Trey.
I would say pushing that ball down that right sideline to Ayuk before the half, that might have been his best throw of the day. I mean, it was like on the line, but it had just a little bit of touch, almost like kind of a 2-ball. All right, you got a 1-ball, 2-ball, 3-ball. That was more of a 2-ball. Right over the defender's hand, gave his receiver an opportunity to catch the ball. The defender was pulling the left-handed way, so Ayuk was going to have to make a one-handed catch. But I just thought the placement on that and just the confidence to try to attempt that type of throw, I was really impressed with that.
I turned off the game because I didn't want to watch it anymore. Are we? Is that a final yet with Panthers Saints, Croc?
Yeah, Panthers lost.
So that's a final. So the Saints did win that game. The 49ers did not clinch a playoff berth. It's going to go to week 18. We will have all the specific tiebreakers covered later on in the week. My brain hurts. I don't want to go through all that stuff right now. But the 49ers have not clinched. Niners, Eagles, Saints all winning in week 17.
Hey, real quick, you were
Yes.
talking about some of the, a little bit more negatives. Again, I talked about, you could tell he's a little indecisive, and that's something that typically you would expect to see in rookies, maybe holding on to the ball a little too long. We definitely saw that, especially for someone in their second start. There was one other throw where I was like, not a great throw, but it got through, and it was the 1-2 Jennings to kind of keep a drive going, where it was short. Now, I didn't see if the ball got tipped or something, but definitely that ball was short. And a lot of the things that I saw with him, I came away more confident than ever that the more he throws the ball, he's just going to get more and more comfortable. So that was one thing. Just even within throws like that, where I was like, that's not a great throw, I think you started to see him still throughout the game kind of settle in a little bit more and more.
Absolutely, he settled in, got more confident, and started slinging the rock a little bit. My favorite throw of the game coming up next. We've got some game balls to give out in this one after a big 49ers win. I see the chat continuing to fill up there. So stick around after the end of our regular podcast time. We will go into OT and chat with you guys and hang out and have a lot of fun and celebrate this victory. For those of you on the audio podcast platforms, you will not get the bonus time. So come over to the YouTube and check out some of those on game day right after the pod, or maybe later on in the week. You can come see the fun that we have after hours here after the regular podcast is over. More about Trey Lance, the 49ers, game balls, all that coming up after I let you guys know about Built Bar. Still got some holiday flavors you can find at Built Bar, like eggnog and caramel macchiato and gingerbread, and some very special flavors. Built Bar puffs as well. We've got lemon dip cheesecake, ruby chocolate, and of course all of the standards: coconut brownie chunk, raspberry, peanut butter brownie, which is my favorite. Peanut butter brownie, 180 calories, 19 grams of protein in that one, and only 5 grams of sugar. In raspberry, there's only 130 calories, 17 grams of protein, and only 4 grams of sugar. Built Bar is a treat that you can feel good about. It's got that protein, so you will feel satisfied. It is the best of both worlds, healthy and delicious. And oh yeah, most Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate, which really helps those New Year's resolutions, and you don't get so bored because you're not eating fun food. Well, it's fun to eat a Built Bar that is covered in 100% real chocolate and only has 4 grams of net carbs. So go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. That is promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Crocky, as Trey Lance started feeling it a little bit, getting a little bit more confident later in the game, and it was pretty amazing just to watch the progression. We've talked about early in the year the progression we've seen some other rookie quarterbacks go through, and I think the worst quarterback this year has been Zach Wilson. They're this close to knocking off the Buccaneers Sunday. But you could see the guy on the other side, Davis Mills, playing really confident ball. And there was some awful games he had at the beginning of the season, throwing 4 interceptions. Trey Lance hasn't had the opportunity to go through those rookie growing pains in game, getting NFL reps. So it's tough for a guy like that who's 21 years old to say, okay, here you go. Here's a must-win game. We got to make the playoffs, and you have to lead us there. And you haven't had an opportunity to make all these mistakes on the field. And it was a little rocky early, but he came out of it great. We saw him progress as the game went along. Really quick game, by the way. That game was a super short one. The 49ers have had a few of those, both teams trying to keep it close and keep it low scoring and keep the ball on the ground a little bit. I hope you all took our advice and took the under on that game. The 49ers did end up covering that 12.5 points, though. But my favorite throw for Trey Lance in this game was when he rolled right in the second half and then stepped into it and just let it fly and found Deebo Samuel down the field. That is, I don't remember how long that pass play was. 45 yards, I believe, is what that pass play was. So it wasn't like, a 60-yard 60 air yard throw or anything crazy like that. But just to see him, and there was even a little wobble to it, but just to see him get into it and let it fly, it's just something you were not going to see from Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's the upside that Trey Lance can bring to this 49ers offense when he is starting to develop and be the full-time starting quarterback.
Yeah. Now, no knock on Jimmy Garoppolo. I think we know what he is, and he likes to throw a little bit more with timing and rhythm. So some of these longer developing plays, we've seen him let it rip here and there. The one thing that I do really like about that throw, him flattening off Deebo Samuel. Deebo's angle was more upfield, and if he leads him upfield, there's an angle for not just Deebo but the safety as well to really make it more of a contested catch. But with him kind of throwing that ball to flatten off Deebo, I thought that was excellent. That was my favorite part about that throw, and maybe something that went a little unnoticed. Again, I think people saw the angle that Deebo was taking and thinking, oh, he underthrew it. I thought he did an excellent job. Flatten that guy off. That was good. There were other couple throws that I was really impressed with. Obviously, the one over the middle to Ayuk coming out of the half. We want to see those type of throws, right? Because when you start to think, oh man, with Trey Lance make that throw. Remember I said that earlier. Would Trey Lance make that throw that I see Jimmy Garoppolo make? So it was good to see him be quick and decisive with the throw over the middle. Completed. A terrific job by Ayuk breaking the tackle and having a big run after catch. And then the other one was to Deebo Samuel that he dropped. But to me, it was just the confidence of throwing over the middle. Again, as I'm watching this game, I know everybody wants to react to the actual performance, but to me, it was more so about where he's at in his development. So seeing him get comfortable with those type of things, those type of throws in preseason, even early in the Rams, in the Seahawks game when he came in, or in the Cardinals game, he was overthrowing slants by 5 yards. So I wanted to see, did he get a little bit more comfortable trying to attempt those type of throws? So when I'm seeing him over the middle throwing those and being confident with it and throwing it with timing, those were the things that excited me throughout the game, even more so than some of the shots down the field. Because I know that's going to be part of his game. I know that. But I need the underneath stuff as well.
I bet that excites Kyle Shanahan. I bet that throw to Ayuk excites Kyle Shanahan as much as anything else that Trey Lance did in that game. He wants the timing, ball in the back foot, hit it out 2.5 seconds. And that's where Jimmy Garoppolo shines. Let your playmakers run with the ball after, and then you get the other bigger plays and extending and plays with his legs. That's where you get really excited about a prospect like Trey Lance.
And I'm going to talk about like him extending plays. Again, some of that comes from maybe not quite knowing exactly what he's seeing from the defense, right? Maybe not quite there yet in his progression, but all right, I don't know exactly what I'm seeing, but let me get out and make a play on the move. And I thought he did that a few times. That's something that can save him right now, as maybe he's not seeing the field as well as a Jimmy Garoppolo, or maybe if it's not even so much about him not seeing the field as well, but maybe not knowing exactly where his guys are, or maybe not being able to throw sometimes in the rhythm that you would like. Okay, let me get out the pocket. Let me throw on the move. I thought he did a good job of doing that. That was good to see him do that, within where he's at in his progression.
For being a team that doesn't have a lot of star power and a lot of talent, I was impressed, especially early with the Houston Texans. I thought they had a nice game plan early, and they were spying Trey Lance with Justin Reed a little bit, and he was playing a pretty good game. And I mentioned this during the game. Trey Lance needs to stop trying to truck people, because that's much more difficult in the NFL. And he's like 0 for 5 so far in his NFL career trying to run over defenders, whether they're linebackers or safeties. So that's not smart. That shouldn't be a part of your game. And you need to slide, get down, get out of bounds, all those types of things when you're running around young Trey Lance. But they cracked the code eventually. Kyle Shanahan kind of got into a rhythm. My favorite play call was the Elijah Mitchell touchdown reception, right? I love seeing that, using the misdirection and then making an easy throw for him, and then letting your ball carrier do it once the ball is in his hands. And I love the fact that Trey Lance had half as many carries in this game as he did the first time he started the game. So for Kyle Shanahan and Trey Lance, both shaky early, both trying to feel out how things should go in this game. And I think they both figured it out, which is exciting, right? I mean, that was super exciting to see how that game ended in the second half with the play calls and the execution from Trey Lance.
Right. And like you said, and Adam Archuleta, I thought he did a good job of kind of talking about that a few times on the live broadcast, where there is that filling out process. Again, I know he's been around he's been in the league now for a while, right? Throughout this year. But having to call an entire game for Trey Lance, understanding his strengths, his weaknesses, what he can do, how he sees the field, especially with how maniacal Kyle Shanahan is with how he wants things done, that's probably a challenge. And I think it's not going to be the first time. I had a very slow first half. The second half went better. I don't think that's the end of seeing Lowell's in the game. So those are that's a conversation for another time as you move on to the Rams game, which is a big one now that I will be attending. But the ups and downs, like that's still going to be there because there is that filling out process between Kyle, Trey, and understanding where Trey is in his development.
Elijah Mitchell ended up getting 21 carries for 119 yards on the ground. As we thought he would get a heavy workload if he was allowed to play, even though he was questionable all week with the knee injury. It did look like he was coming up a little bit limpy and maybe didn't have quite as much juice to him on that one long run of the game where it looked like he was going to break it. And he said, I got to change hands with this ball and try to stiff arm this guy because I'm not going to get there. And he was walking slow after that, and he actually left the game. They handed the ball to Debo. He didn't get in either. The 49ers eventually ended up scoring. But it was nice to have Elijah Mitchell back and for Kyle Shanahan to have his full complement of ball carriers. And it was Lance and it was Debo. And I know that Jeff Wilson was in the game a number of times, even though he didn't officially get a carry. But I love the personnel package when they have Debo and Jeff Wilson on the field, and then they move Debo to the backfield. So it goes from being 11 personnel to 21 personnel, and they use Jeff Wilson as a fullback, and he's physical and he can do that. And so I love how that puts stress on a defense, and yet you can really change things around and change the look versus what you think it's going to be going into the huddle against the defense. So I love seeing those. Anybody else who want to call out on offense before we go to defense and give out some game balls, Croc?
Nah, I think that's good. Well, the lack of usage with George Kittle, and again, that's George Kittle. So I try to put, think like, okay, what's the player thinking? What's the coach thinking? I try to think through through the eyes of them. And I think with George Kittle, obviously we had that one throw late in the game. And even that one, I'm not going to say it worried me, but it didn't drop down. It was still kind of on this upward kind of trajectory a little bit. And obviously, Kittle did an amazing job of reaching out with one hand, coming down with the pass. But, those worry you a little bit because if that goes off of his hand, it's tipped in the air. And you know what happens over the middle, tips and overthrows, that's interceptions. So, again, I'm looking at it through just an evaluation with him. And I like the completion. I like the result of it. But that's something that I'm going to keep an eye on. And I'll look to see if he is the starter next week, how, that goes through. And how they start to utilize George Kittle a little bit more. Because good job, they got him the ball in the end around and then they targeted him late. But outside of that, he wasn't really involved. So they do different things to kind of get the ball to George Kittle right now, give him more catch and run opportunities. I think that only helps your young guy through this process. So get Kittle more involved. That's something I'll be looking out for.
Yeah, Kittle's got to be Trey Lance's best friend going forward. And I said it last week when Kittle had 3 targets, and I'll say it again this week. It's pretty much unacceptable to have only 2 targets for George Kittle when your best player's on offense. You got to find ways to get him the ball, like you find ways to get Debo Samuel the ball, and especially in the passing game. And that's your security blanket is George Kittle. So I want to see more of that. I want to see more than 2 targets. He did have the 1 catch for 29, and then that 1 carry for 6 yards on the end around. One touch per half for George Kittle is not going to cut it. Right. I don't care who your quarterback is. Can't happen. So that's definitely something I'm looking for the 49ers to continue to have George Kittle as heavily involved as possible. Let's talk 49ers defense against the Houston Texans offense next and give out some week 17 game balls. Those of you in the live chat, hang out because we are going to chat with you after the podcast is over and hang out a little bit and celebrate this 49ers 23-7 victory over the Houston Texans. I've got an incredible app everyone who buys gas needs to know about. It is called Get Upside. I downloaded this app, and I'm blown away how easy it is to get cash back when you're getting gas. Go get the best deal on gas you can get. You open it up. There's a map. It says, here's a gas station. Here's the deal. You can get 25 cents back per gallon when you go fill up here. You claim it. Great. You go. You get gas and you get that money in your account. It's super easy. I don't know why anybody who gets gas would not use this app. And it's not just gas either. You can find some other deals at Get Upside. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or use promo code Touchdown and get a 25 cents per gallon bonus as well on your first fill up. So that's up to 50 cents cash back on your first fill up. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal. You can do an e-gift card or a number of brands. You can get a gift card if you want to buy a gift for somebody with your cash back that you receive from Get Upside. Just download the free Get Upside app, use promo code Touchdown, and get up to 50 cents per gallon cash back on your first tank. Again, that is promo code Touchdown with the Get Upside app. Croc, I want to highlight one comment in the chat first here. Looking at that Houston Texans offense, what do you think? Future 49er, Brandon Cooks, because that was about all that the Houston Texans could muster against the Niners in this one. And I love the way they utilized him, even though he's 5'8", he can make plays down the field where you can't even see him. It's like, where's he throwing the ball? And then the defender moves, and it's like, oh, Brandon Cooks is hiding back there. And he comes down with the catch. How does he do that at 5'8"? I love watching Brandon Cooks play. He's a really underrated player around the league. He's spent times on numerous rosters in the league, but teams always want to trade for him because he's a good player. And he got K'Wan Williams on the slot fade, which got the PI on Norman on the left side. If I'm a team going up against the 49ers, I'm absolutely throwing deep on the outside or targeting K'Wan on the deep shots from the slot if he's in man coverage, because that's where the 49ers are susceptible if their defensive line isn't getting there. Luckily for the 49ers, their defensive line actually got stronger as the game went on and started harassing Davis Mills a little bit. What do you think about the 49ers defensive effort against those Houston Texans and Davis Mills and Brandon Cooks?
Well, we can't talk about Brandon Cooks without talking about where he's from. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So north side of Stockton, I got to let that be known. That's the little homie. But he's the most underrated receiver in the NFL. I mean, he's a walking 1,000-yard receiver every single year. Nobody talks about him. I think there's been 2 years in his career where he didn't go over 1,000. And before, they put on the quarterbacks he played with. Now he's playing with Davis Mills, and he's still being extremely productive. So hopefully he is a future 49er. He gets to come back to the crib and be productive and be a guy that can stretch the field for the 49ers. It was awesome to see him do well, but obviously you don't want it to be at the expense of the 49ers defense. I think overall, 49ers defense played well. They were flying around. I thought they challenged the Houston Texans more on third downs by playing a little bit more man coverage. Obviously, you had the 2 pass interference calls, and they were kind of back to back. The one on Josh Norman, and he got pulled after that. So I think that answers the question as far as who's going to be in there. Come playoff time when Emmanuel Mosley comes back, it ain't going to be Josh Norman. All right?
Oh, you think it'll be Mosley and Thomas?
Yeah, Josh Norman got pulled. He got yanked.
Oh, that's right. He got yanked for and
Dante Johnson.
And Dante Johnson still had a PI on the very next play. So,
and I thought his PI, it was a little bit more of like, okay, I see the one Josh Norman that was ridiculous. That was no call. Dante Johnson's, there was a little tug. I didn't think it was like, oh, I'm impeding his progress that much. It was like a slight tug. But, every time they show pass interference on the replay, it's like super slow motion. So it looks like somebody's holding someone for like 10 seconds. And then it's like, oh, of course that's a flag. It was a quick tug. He went to knock the ball away. I thought it was solid coverage. He had the nice pass breakup, 2 of them late in the game. Good coverage from Dante Johnson. So that was solid. That's why you have him. 6th cornerback that can come in at any time and just it can help. But this is all about, obviously, the safeties. They did good. Tart flying around as usual. He's excellent. You had the punch out from Fred Warner. But let's talk about Ambry Thomas and the development of that young guy. Again, we talked about some of his shortcomings, and a lot of it was because of, down the field, he just wasn't tracking the ball in and making the play on the ball. He had a third down play earlier where he nearly had a pick 6, played catch technique. I like to see it. Changed up his alignment at the snap, sat on the route, made contact, went for the pick. Should have been to the crib. All right, but just to see him, he plays with a lot of confidence. I saw it in this game. I saw it in the game against Tennessee. He has to continue that. But really liked what I'm seeing from him. And as you continue to go, there's, again, just like Trey Lance and anybody else, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. But I like seeing he has the ability. That's the biggest thing. Can you play in this league? And I think the answer for that with Ambry Thomas is definitely yes.
Yep. And again, it's the at the catch point stuff. And this time it wasn't, someone going over the top of him, but it was him being in the position to get an interception and get your hands on it. And he's like, it's like it looked like he didn't even have hands. He's like, dude, catch the ball. What are you doing? That's why he plays defense, though, right, Croc? On the DB's catch. So
I had 11 interceptions in 1 year.
But no, pull down the interception, Ambry Thomas. But no, he's the last 2 weeks he's been playing much better, and teams are even targeting the opposite side of the field more than his side of the field, especially this week. So you think when obviously when Emmanuel Mosley comes back, he's going to start. He's been on the left side. So is it Dante Johnson and Emmanuel Mosley? Is it Ambry Thomas and Emmanuel Mosley? Or does Josh Norman get another shot even though he was yanked in this one?
I think it's Ambry Thomas, and because that's who you put your eggs in that basket. You drafted him. You want to develop him. You're seeing him get better and better or more and more comfortable each week. All right. So you want to continue that going. I believe he's going to get the first crack at it because that's who they want to be good. They want him out there. Again, everybody gets on Josh Norman, and they don't want Josh Norman to have to be out there. It just was what the situation is or was. So until a guy like Ambry Thomas is ready, then, you get Ambry Thomas in there and you play him with Mosley. And I'm sorry, Rook, but you're going to have to go to the other side and play that right corner as Mosley holds down the left side or wherever he decides to line up.
That's tough because Mosley's played right corner in the past. I know in college, Ambry Thomas did line up on the right side a lot. So, so you move the rookie over. I mean, I bet they go Dante Johnson and Mosley. I don't know if they're going to switch sides with him. And Mosley's going to have the left side. I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Norman's back out there either. I mean, it is awesome that as much as Dante, we got to get out of here. As much as Dante Johnson gets grief from 49ers fans, it is nice when it comes to this sort of a situation that you have a competent veteran corner. They can go out there and play and give you snaps. So that was a great point.
And it's not just corner. He can play outside. He can play nickel, and he also can line up at safety. So that's why you keep a guy around like him, 6 guy on your roster, but the versatility and having to play him in a pinch like right now, I think you're comfortable with that as opposed to maybe even throwing Diamador Lenore out there.
We got to get to the game balls on this portion of the podcast, Croc. There's some more defenders that I think need to be highlighted. So I'm going to use this opportunity to highlight Fred Warner, who was all over the place in this one, 15 total tackles. He got a tackle for a loss. He's flying around the field. He's looking a lot more recently like the guy the 49ers paid big money to, like all-pro Fred, even though he started the season a little bit slow. I just love seeing Fred Warner set the tone and fly around the field and make plays in the backfield and sniff out screens and things like that. And when he's all over the field, it just, makes the field a lot smaller for opposing offenses. So I'm going to start with giving Fred Warner a game ball.
Yeah, almost got that takeaway. We've been waiting for him to make a play on the ball, whether an interception, forced fumble, the things that you're used to seeing from him. He punched one out, 49ers weren't able to recover it. I think my first game ball is going to go to
Warner. Oh, sorry. I just want to say, was that the one where, because I don't think he even knew he popped it out. Because then he saw it. He saw him like jump on the ball afterwards, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know I knocked the ball out."
Yeah, he saw that. He saw that late.
By the way, Marcel Harris got bailed out hard on that.
He did.
That
did. The refs helped us. The pass interference, I could see it. I hate the pass interference calls on DBs. Yeah. Not even just against the Niners, like against other. The corner was there a little early, whatever. He threw it into double coverage. I mean, it's like there's going to be some contact. But anyways, that forward progress stopped. I said, thank you. Thank you, refs. They did a good job there because that, I don't know how they called that. It was a fumble. But it helped the 49ers. Awesome. Great. My first game ball definitely has to go to Trey Lance. Just to see that, although there were moments where you could tell that he needed to settle in a little bit, I still never ever felt that it was too much for him. Even when it was somewhat of a stagnant offense, he still was able to move the ball and kind of make some plays with his legs. But just seeing what I want from him, and I think what Kyle wants from him as well, as a pure passer, and to see him start to, get that, especially as the game went on. Again, everybody talks about the first half. Terrible first half. He completed 10 out of 13 passes, did have the interception. I'm saying it could be a lot worse, and we've seen worse from Trey Lance. So I like where his progression is going. I like how he evolved throughout this game. Definitely have to get the first game ball to him. And I'll kind of tag team this, him and the defense, because the defense did a really good job of never letting this game have to put it on his shoulders to where he has to do more. So I pair them up, the defense and Trey Lance. Good job.
Yeah, I think in the end, just giving D'Amico Ryans a game ball is the way to go about that, because the Texans really just had that one drive, that one long touchdown drive in the first half. And that ended in that Brandon Cooks touchdown. Aside from that, the Texans really didn't get anything going all day long. And so good job by the entire defense, and good job, Trey Lance. He absolutely gets a game ball in this one. I'll give a game ball to Elijah Mitchell. He went over the triple-digit mark again on the ground. The 49ers run game is definitely better with him in there than any of the other running backs so far this year. Aside from 2 carries from Raheem Mostert, we didn't really get to see what his season was going to look like. He had the 37-yarder, so you break out the big run too, which the 49ers running game hasn't had a lot of recently, unless it was Deebo Samuel making plays out of the backfield. Too many carries for Deebo again, though. Okay, you got Elijah Mitchell back. Deebo Samuel's a wide receiver. Let's use him like that. 2-3 carries is fine. But so more targets for Deebo as a true receiver, more targets for George Kittle, if I had to say anything about the game plan here. But
I'd say less carries for Elijah Mitchell. I mean, the game was put away, and Kyle has done this a lot, where the game is away and it's like, no, we're still going to give you 5, 6, 7 more carries. Now, obviously, it helped him. He sprung off a big one that put him over 100 yards for the game, but I don't want to see him be banged up. All right. Now, my next game ball, definitely, and I see everybody in the chat saying it, Brandon Ayuk. It just coming through, playing strong through contact, making those type of plays, almost pulling in the one-hand one in the end zone. I like seeing that, challenging defenders downfield. Shout out to Trey Lance throwing that ball. Great ball placement, gave his guy an opportunity to make a play. The toe tap on the sideline right before the half, the near interception, I thought that was a terrific catch. And again, over the middle, when guys are coming down and bearing down on you, where you're potentially going to get your head taken off, him catch the ball, focus on that, take the shot, spin out of that, and get yards after catch. I thought that was awesome. Almost 100 yards, damn near all of it, between the first half and that first drive and the second half. Didn't see him after that, but I like what he did as far as contributing in the passing game.
Brandon Ayuk, too, probably one of the smartest business decisions of any player on the team this year is doing extra work with the guy who's going to be your next franchise quarterback, after practice, before the games. That's smart. I mean, that's genius, right? For Brandon Ayuk. Right. And you can tell there's a rapport there and there's a trust there. And Trey Lance will allow Brandon Ayuk to make some plays. And so I love seeing that. Brandon Ayuk, 4 catches, 94 yards. Yeah, the toe tapper and the 43-yarder he had. So big plays, and the PI too. You got to count that as a big play with Trey Lance trusting his guy, even though he didn't come down with the ball. It's a big play to get that pass interference. So overall, great game for the 49ers. Looked a little dicey in the first half. After halftime, they turned it on a little bit, beat a team that they should beat, that they had to beat to keep their playoff hopes alive. And now it's going to go into week 18. Got the Rams coming up next. Everybody in the chat, stick around. We are going to hang out for a while and talk about more of this game. Croc and I will continue to talk about this game, the Rams, everything going on with the 49ers, the playoff tiebreakers later on this week. Thanks, everybody, for making us your first listen every day right here. Locked On 49ers. All right, Crocky. Let's get into this chat. What's up, everybody? Love seeing everybody in the chat, hanging out with us live right now on YouTube. What do you think out there? Is there anybody we missed that deserved a game ball? Laquan says game ball to the refs. I think they evened it up with those ticky-tack PIs at the end of the game, too. The refs were helping the 49ers earlier on in the game. I was about to tweet that and say, hey, 49ers fans, you can't get mad at the refs after this one, because almost every game the fan base comes at the refs. But the Niners got helped out more than a few times, I think, in this one with some calls. But overall, just stop throwing flags. I just hate flags these days. Even if it's for or against you, just stop throwing them.
We got one person in the chat, and he's asking, what about the toss on 4th down? And let's talk about kind of some of these 4th down calls. I'd say the toss, I didn't understand that because, and I tweeted this out, give Trey Lance a run pass option, right? Like, don't just make it to where, like, oh, I have to do this, and if this doesn't work, like, we're screwed. I really like that second one. I believe it was the second one where obviously they didn't convert and he was rolling out to his left, but just the idea behind it and the play design, I thought it was terrific. The Houston Texans and Adam Archuleta talked about it. They just did a hell of a job being able to cover everything up. But to kind of do a play action this way and drag Kittle out into the flat, just the defender did a really good job. I thought the play call was great, and they gave him an opportunity to potentially run, but they took away his angle to run as well. Trey Lance is not like a speedster, but he definitely can make plays with his legs. Definitely was going to make the around that corner. I like that play call. Didn't like that other one.
I'm with you. Yeah. And Kyle was 0 for 2. I didn't like seeing him kick it the third time. Like, that's why the data tells you to go for it on 4th down, because you're more than likely going to get it, but you got to keep going for it to get those 4th down conversions. Kyle didn't get the first 2. So the one on 4th and inches, which is the obvious time to do it. You're at the 50-yard line, 4th and inches. You've got a 6'4", 230-pound quarterback that's athletic. Go pick up the first down. What are you doing? So I didn't like the call to not go for it there. I think that was too conservative.
I liked it. No, I liked it.
You like kicking it there?
But because where's the defense, right? Like, the defense, like, don't give Houston anything. That's why there were a couple other times, like on those 4th downs, I was saying kick it, whether it was take the points or just punt the ball. Like, don't give this team that's struggling to move the ball life, right? They can't really do anything on your defense. Punt the ball and make them try to drive the length of the field, which I don't think they can. I would have punted more.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but it's only 10-7. You need to score as well as stop the other team. You don't want that defense to be on the field all game long, because at some point maybe they will give up a big play and another score. So you've got to score yourself too. And if the data tells you it's a lot better to be going for it in those situations, go get a stinking inch and go get a first down. But I don't like going backwards on the toss play. So I'm with I can't even read the name here. And by the way, I couldn't even, the chat was coming so fast, I couldn't even click on the one I wanted to click on to put it on the screen because the scroll was going too fast. So I'm this in the chat right now and jumping on with this. But yeah, I'm with you. I like the one play call, even though it didn't work. The defense played it well and didn't like the first call on the toss. And I think they should have gone for it. But Croc disagrees. That's okay, though. But in hindsight, it does look good to kick because your defense is dominating and just going to stop them. You're going to get the ball back and you're going to play the field position game. I get that, but at 10-7 is like, man, you need something on offense. Let's go get a first down, keep it going, keep the defense off the field, and go score and go win the game that way.
I think there was enough evidence that Houston just couldn't drive the field. Like you said, they had the one nice drive, and that was it, really, for the entire game. So don't bail them out with good field position. Don't even make that an option. Punt it, try to pin them back. Now, if you want to say we're a punter sometimes is kind of hit and miss, and that's why I would understand that. But yeah, I don't
know. Here's another one. Oh wait, I see. I did it again because the chat's coming too fast. Just let Trey carry the ball on the breakdown plays. Almost every design QB run is obvious. He calls a different game. Stop that. I kind of agree. Sometimes they're successful and they look better, but the designed quarterback runs I don't like as much. And before they punted it, they ran it was a quarterback draw and then a quarterback dive or something, and then punted it away on 4th and inches. I'm not loving, especially the power quarterback run plays. The best plays that Trey Lance had in this game were scrambles or moving out of the pocket and making a play with his arm. The design quarterback runs, you can sprinkle a few in there, but I still think a little bit heavy, even though there was half as many Trey Lance rushes in this game as there was the first time he started. So I did like that, but I kind of agree here.
He has that skill set. So you don't want to just go away from it completely. How many carries did he have? About 7?
He had 8 carries.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. He also had the one that was a touchdown, but obviously got called back for holding.
Yeah, so we had nine carries. One was the touchdown, a long of 6. It's not like he's breaking them, and he's not that fat. I think his athleticism maybe has been oversold as a prospect. Like, he's athletic for a quarterback, and he's a big guy, and he can run a little bit, but he's not Lamar Jackson out there. You're not just going to write him like
No,
he's a pure
he's
runner.
like Deshaun Watson.
Right.
He's like
Yeah,
Deshaun Watson.
Yes. And how good Trey Lance becomes isn't going to be because of his leg. That's just like a little bit extra that he gives you with his legs and his ability to move around a little bit. However good Trey Lance becomes, it's because of how good he gets as a pocket passer.
Right.
And he can
and that is the way that Kyle Shanahan is trying to develop him. Real quick about, Kyle Shanahan and the way that he wants to develop him. Again, I talked to my guy Greg Pinelli, and he's giving me the scoop because he has his guy Tyler Bray there. But Tyler has touched on how difficult that offense is to pick up. And this is a guy who was with Jim Nagy, he was with Andy Reid, and he said this is by far the hardest offense to pick up. And he said it's like learning a completely different language. And it's been tough for him. Obviously, he just got there. He hasn't been there a long time. But I'm assuming if it's a little difficult for a guy, because a lot of teams run similar concepts, but, the way you call the plays, the tags, the length of it, things like that can change, and misdirections. A lot of things that make Kyle Shanahan good. But I can only assume it's really difficult for a rookie coming out of North Dakota State, where he did a lot of under center, huddling up. They call plays. He did those type of things. But this clearly is different than what anybody else is doing in the sense of the verbiage and to pick up on it. He said his head is spinning. So I can only assume a rookie quarterback who has not been in the NFL, how long it takes for him to really pick it up. Now, knowing it, that's one thing. Like, if you're just in a classroom, oh yeah, he knows the offense. But being able to call the play, get to line of scrimmage, understand that, and then get to the defense. I don't even think Trey Lance is at the point in his development to where he knows what he's seeing from the defensive side of the ball. He's so focused right now on just understanding the offense and what he's supposed to do. I bet he can't even read a defense right now, because those things, like, he's just not there in his progression. He's trying to focus on learning this offense right now. That's tough. And you can see it a little bit. You can see it a little bit. And although you see it, you see that, and you see some of the whatever, you also see him have, 2 tugs and 230 something yards and, a good passer rating and all that. So we know the potential is there.
16 of 23 passing, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the interception for Trey Lance. He did have the rushing touchdown that was taken away. 8 carries for 31 yards total, a long of 6 as a runner in that game. I love this one from Matt. The 49ers are now 8-0. They were 7-0 last week. They're 8-0 now when Jimmy Garoppolo does not throw an interception. Just to update that one. Let's see. Brian put some posters on the wall. Nothing is going on the wall here. We have sold our house, and the clock that you see above my head was put there by the stagers. In fact, I've got plans for my new studio in my next home, but nothing else is happening in this home until we move, and we're renting back our house after we sold it for a couple months. So yeah, don't expect anything else behind me until probably after the Super Bowl, when we're moved and put together a new little studio, and there'll be more eye candy behind me. I've got all my bobbleheads over here, but you can't see them. That was the stuff that's over there that you can't see off camera was supposed to be the stuff behind me in my studio as I designed it. But what are you going to do? Life changes sometimes.
We have some questions about the where the playoff standings, where they're at right now, where the 49ers are. And what I'm looking at right now, have the 49ers sitting at the seventh spot, 9-7, tied with Philly. I don't understand how is Philly over them? But regardless, they have the same record. So neither team can lose. Now, Minnesota plays tonight, and if they win, they'll go to 8-8. But that's not the team I don't even think it has anything to do with them. Right now, it comes down to Eagles, Niners, and Saints.
So what sucks for the 49ers is the 3-way tie hurts them. If it's a 2-way tie with the Eagles, they have the head-to-head. If it's a 2-way tie with the Vikings, they have the head-to-head. If it's a 4-way tie with all of those teams, New Orleans, Philly, and the Vikings, as Brian lays out here, then that helps the 49ers. But the three-way tie is the one the Niners want to avoid. The three-way tie with the Saints and the Eagles. That's the scenario that hurts the 49ers.
And I think that's what it's going to come down to. The Saints
The
play
most
the Atlanta Falcons
scenario.
next week.
The Falcons are bad. They have 7 wins, I know, but they're not a good football team. So that worries me a little bit, although the Eagles have the Cowboys. So
Right.
the 49ers would still have to win, though. You know what's crazy is if the 49ers are tied with the Eagles and the Saints are
8-8.
8-8, or even if the Saints got the 6th seed and won both games, and the Niners and the Eagles were tied for the 7th seed, the Niners would get in. So the Saints being a game worse knocks the Niners out, even if it was the same 3 teams.
That's
If
crazy.
that makes sense. It's totally wild how it changes with the multi-team tiebreaker instead of just a 2-team tiebreaker. So
Should we wait to talk about kind of
Yeah.
heading into yeah.
We'll find out what happens on Sunday Night Football with the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings are starting Sean Mannion. The Vikings going to go to Green Bay and beat the Packers tonight? I don't think so.
What were some of your takeaways? Because I see these questions. What are some of your takeaways in the sense of, and we'll get more into it, but just kind of your initial thoughts after watching that game, knowing you have the Rams next week, Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, just your initial thought. Who would you start against the Rams with all things considered equal?
I would probably start Jimmy Garoppolo against the Rams if he was 100%. Just because of how good the 49ers played the Rams with Jimmy the first time. And we've seen that. And a shaky start from Trey Lance, rookie mistakes might, against a team like the Rams instead of the Texans, maybe the Niners get buried early in a game like that.
Right.
And I fully expect Kyle Shanahan to start Jimmy Garoppolo next week if he's cleared. But Jimmy Garoppolo that I think is going to be available next week, I would start Trey Lance, because Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to be 100% next week. He's not going to be 100% for months until he has surgery in the offseason. And a quarterback that can't grip the ball, or the guy we saw in the second half of this game, Trey Lance, I mean, give me Trey Lance all day. So I would start Trey Lance next week probably, because I don't think Jimmy's going to be 100%. And that worries me for the 49ers, because I think Jimmy will do everything he can to play. And if he can play and says he's ready to go, and the training staff signs off on it, then I think he'll be the one starting. And I don't know if that gives the 49ers the best chance to win, because the upside is much higher with Trey Lance. And the Trey Lance I saw in the second half, if he can build on that, I think the 49ers are a better team with Trey Lance.
See, we keep saying that, the Trey Lance in the second half. But again, I keep going back to, like, as far as you look at the numbers, and I get what the eye test says, it was shaky, but his shaky was completing 10 out of 13 passes. And like that's his shaky.
That's what Jimmy's bad is. It always is. Same thing. He just like throws a bad interception.
So yours is more so. So your thing is more so on, and I think this is what Kyle Shanahan, what he's been thinking as well. I know what I'm getting from Jimmy Garoppolo. With a rookie, there's just more unknown. So knowing that, I'll ride with the rookie. I think my pushback on that will always be, well, if you played Trey Lance this whole time and there was no Jimmy Garoppolo in the equation, how far along would Trey Lance be in his progression right now?
If Trey Lance started all year, I don't know what the 49ers record would be, but if it was the same record, the 49ers would be better with Trey Lance than Jimmy Garoppolo by now. But there's still some unknown with Trey Lance. But my thing is just, you could tell by the way it looked. Like Jimmy, even when it's bad Jimmy, he's still like, boom, boom, 2.3 seconds, balls out. But, oh, shoot. I didn't check on that robber safety and he got me, or I didn't check on that linebacker on the backside or whatever, and he makes some mistakes. With Trey Lance, you still have those mistakes, but you have some bigger plays, but you also have the plays where he drops back and he's like, I don't know what to do right now. I'm going to scramble. I'm going to move around. And that was the Houston Texans he's playing against. If that was Aaron Donald you're playing against, maybe those are sacks and maybe you're going backwards and it could unravel and look a lot worse. So that's kind of what I'm going on, is just it's very clear, which is the reason why Jimmy Garoppolo's talking about. It's very clear that Trey Lance doesn't have the grasp of the offense that Jimmy Garoppolo does.
It's clear that you would expect. It's clear that one has been in the offense for 4 years and one is a rookie.
Yes, exactly.
Essentially, that's what you're saying. And I think you kind of got to differentiate that, because I don't want that to be confused with people thinking that we're saying Jimmy Garoppolo is just flat out better. I think that there's just a better understanding right now of the offense. As Greg Cosell said, right, at this stage in their careers, at this stage, we're talking about one that's an 8-year vet in comparison to a rookie in his second start. At this stage in their career, Jimmy Garoppolo is ahead in the sense of doing the things that Kyle wants him to, like, what Kyle's thinking of doing. And Trey's just not quite there yet. Now, again, I keep going back to, what if Trey Lance started from day one? I think he would be there. And seeing him win a game like this the way they did, I believe strongly that a lot of the games that some of the, against the against the Falcons, against the Jaguars, against some of these teams where the 49ers just kind of pummeled. I'm like, and even some of these games that Jimmy played where they scored no points in the second half, or only 3 points in the second half, where he had all these lulls in the game. So like, what's the difference between that and what Trey Lance did in the first half? I think the only difference is, you're a little bit more certain of what it looks like when Jimmy is seeing everything right, as opposed to a rookie. Does that make sense?
I get completely what you're saying. Did you see, I can't remember if there was an end zone camera replay of the Debo throw. This question from Sterling, was that Lance just kind of chucked it out there and it wasn't really in a great location, he could have put it deeper out there for Debo, or that he purposely threw it to a flattened off area for Debo to go get it?
Yeah, so my opinion of it, right from when I saw it, was that he threw it in an area to flatten Debo Samuel off. Because if he leads Debo up the field, it really has to be more of a perfect pass, and Debo has to be able to beat a safety there that has a good angle on the upfield shoulder. You flatten that off, it's impossible for the defensive back to get there. So I think, and I don't know, maybe he did on accident, I don't know, but if he did do it by accident, it was an amazing throw and ball location to flatten it off and keep that safety far away from it. So I thought that was his best throw of the day.
I thought it was too. And I don't know where he intended to throw it, but he threw it in a great place. And I just love seeing a quarterback roll out, create some time, and lay into one, just uncork a throw. It's exciting because it's something you don't see in the 49ers offense. So I love those types of things. Let's see. Let's go to Croc. You got QB Monday with Greg Pinelli on the Croc Talk TV tomorrow?
Of course, man. And Greg was at the game as well. So, yeah, he's going to have some insight, what he's seeing from the stands. I know he talked about the interception. He texted me as it happened, and he was like, you kind of have to give a pump to the flat with your shoulder and then go over the top to George Kittle. So, if you kind of look that way and pump that way, or here, you'll stop the defensive back's feet, and then you'll be able to fit that over there. So those are things that, he'll learn as he goes. And when you start talking about rookie mistakes or things that a rookie could learn, I mean, there's always going to be interceptions, right? We see that with every, I don't know if you watched Matthew Stafford today, but he's throwing them out like candy over the last few weeks. So there's always going to be some of that if you're kind of that kind of quarterback, I guess, a turnover prone quarterback. But kind of understanding who Trey Lance was in college, we're talking about 28 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. A couple that went off guys' hands, but that's not someone that puts the ball in harm's way a whole lot when he understands the offense and what he's seeing. So I'd assume that he'd improve on those things. Again, that's just an assumption.
Yeah, it's just the nuance of playing quarterback. Obviously, the more he plays, the more accurate he'll get, the more he'll be able to look people off and incorporate all of those things. And I mean, this guy's a rookie in his second career start, 21 years old, didn't even play last year. So that those types of things you would expect would come. That's what makes you excited about Trey Lance when you see the other things he can bring to the table and see how he played in the second half. But to Nick's point, yeah, and that was kind of my point earlier about, look, it looked good too, but think about how bad it looked in the first half, and that was, one of the worst teams in the NFL that the 49ers were playing against in this one. So you kind of have to pump the brakes a little bit. I hope Jimmy Garoppolo is ruled out next week, because I think it's the worst case for the 49ers to have a hurt Jimmy G playing. I think that's the worst scenario. because a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo, I understand why Kyle Shanahan would go with healthy Jimmy G, 100%. Go out there, beat the Rams like you did the first time, and run your offense and everything you've been working on all season long. Week 18, go win a playoff spot. But I think healthy Trey Lance is better than hurt Trey Lance, or better than hurt Jimmy Garoppolo that can't even hold on to a football. And that's what worries me. The 49ers are going to go out there in a must-win game, and they're going to have their worst possible quarterback situation because their quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, is toughing it out, but he can't even grab a ball.
We're in this situation because Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, that's how I feel. Like, those turnovers against Tennessee and how that ultimately led to the 49ers kind of losing. That's why we're in this position of really a must win. And you don't even know if that win is going to get you in. Like, that is tough, right?
There was a couple of wobblers. Go ahead.
Is it as simple as 49ers winning they're in, or do they need to win and they need either the Eagles or the Saints to lose? I forgot what we said about that.
No, they need help because they don't want to be tied. You don't want the 49ers to be tied. So as it stands right now, hold on, let me change my view here.
Terrible.
Right now, the 49ers are 9-7 after that win. And the Eagles are 9-7 after their win. But they were a game up on the Saints. So, yeah, the 49ers do have a win in their end game next week because the Saints are 8-8 right now. So,
but I think the tough. Okay, I know
where the Niners, if the Niners lose,
you have to beat the Rams though. Like I think that's where my mind was going.
Yeah,
it's like,
you
win your in, but you play the Rams.
Yeah, you wanted to be able to get in before you were playing the Rams, so you could have you could rest easy. So if the Saints would have lost this week, then the Niners could have played Trey Lance no matter what and let Jimmy get healthy for the playoffs, which is probably what they would have done if they would have already clinched that playoff berth. But since they have to win next week, and they'll be the 6th seed because they've got the tiebreaker over the Eagles, even if the Eagles win. But a Niners win against the Rams will put them in. But that's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a huge game. What do you think about just the way he threw the ball, the way it came out of his hands? There was a couple of wobblers. It's still not perfect. The accuracy's still not perfect, but it definitely was better than his first start, I think.
It's tough. Like, obviously, like there were throws where the accuracy was off, but I mean, if you just sit and watch any quarterback, are there throws where the accuracy is off? Are we focusing more on it because we believe that he does have, a tendency to be inaccurate, or is he? Because he threw some passes in there, like, again, I talked about the slanted Debo that he dropped. That was on the money, perfect timing, rhythm, ball didn't get away from him. That throw to Ayuk, it was like tight window. That was a laser catch on him. Like, I thought there were enough accurate throws to where if there was a wobbler, that's not something that I focus on. I thought he threw the ball well.
Wouldn't it be amazing if it was an Ambry Thomas pick 6 of Matthew Stafford that clinched it for the 49ers after everything we've gone through the whole offseason and the season now? That would be pretty poetic. That would be pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah.
And Stafford's throwing pick 6s all around, so I wouldn't be shocked if the 49ers get another one next week. And the Niners did a number on the Rams last time they played. That was their best game of the season. It was against the Rams on Monday Night Football. And that was like the game where you and I both predicted the Niners to lose. It was like, they're going to lose. It's going to be ugly, embarrassed on national
49ers were at a bad time.
I mean, you don't just say, right?
You can't just say like, oh, they're going to lose. And that's how, I think they were on a 4-game skid at that point.
Oh, no,
so it's like,
there's a reason we thought that. They were playing awful. It was like, they're going to lose in prime time, and it's going to become the Trey Lance show. That's the way their season looked before that Monday Nighter, and that's where things clicked and turned around for the 49ers. And it was like, okay, maybe they can be a playoff team now. And that was against the Rams.
Do you think that if you take out Jimmy from that game and replace him with Trey Lance, and everything kind of goes the way that it did defensively, but now you have Trey Lance instead of Jimmy and he plays how he plays today, is that a win for the 49ers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. So scheduling next week. The Saints game is early game. So the 49ers play the 1:00 game. So we'll know how the Saints game if it's a must win for the 49ers, because they might have clinched before the game even starts, which might make it a game time decision all week. And I'm sure Kyle Shanahan will want to do that. We'll play we'll see how Jimmy's feeling game all week long. So we're not going to know who the quarterback is going to be, even if maybe the 49ers already know, shoot, Jimmy's going to be out for a month. But we just don't want to tell anybody that, because we don't want the Rams to prepare, and we don't want whoever we're playing in the playoffs to prepare for Trey Lance. We want them preparing for Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's another element of this thing, is it doesn't help the 49ers to let people know early if they already know Jimmy's going to be out. So maybe that's part of the whole Jimmy Thumb thing. I don't know.
Hey, there is a good comment here where I see that. It's from ET. Said Rams secondary isn't the Texans, and Texans have a top 10 pass defense. I don't think the Rams do. I think the Rams have Jalen Ramsey, but aside from him, there's not much in that secondary. I mean, their pass coverage comes from their pass rush, which has Aaron Donald, who can just wreck games.
49ers are down 6 points to the Rams. The Rams favored by 6. That's the early line for next week's game, by the way. Just throw that out there.
Take the points right now.
Take the points. Niners will keep that one within 6. That's going to be a fun game. That's going to be a really fun game. 10 wins. I always remember we said earlier on in the season, it's going to take 10 wins. So it's going to take 10 wins to get in the playoffs.
Our guy, one of the guys in the chat said that Ramsey might be suspended. Did you see what he did earlier? He punched his teammate, Trap.
Oh, I saw they did something.
No, not on the sideline. It was in the game.
Oh, I saw him arguing on the sideline. I didn't see any things in the game.
No, in the game, on the field, he just stole on them. Boop.
What?
It was like in the middle of a play. Yeah. And then like Rap tried to get to him, and then Trap, whatever, Rap.
Taylor
Rap.
And
then they kind of hold me back, that type of thing. And then I guess they played the rest of the game, but yeah.
No, I saw him arguing on the sideline, but I didn't see what happened in the game. Punching your teammate in the game, that's not a division leading move.
Do you suspend them for that?
I mean, the team might. I don't think the league will. I don't think the league cares if you fight your teammates.
No. Which is interesting.
But the team's definitely not going to suspend them if they have a chance to win the division next week. No way.
Do you prioritize that, allowing that behavior over setting the standard?
Week 7, yes. Week 18, doubtful. I would be shocked if they sit down Jalen Ramsey because of that. Who knows? Maybe a fine or something. That's probably what they'll do. They'll go pocketbook. They'll fine him. That way they don't have to sit him.
I can see McVay now. Yeah, we saw what happened, and we just thought that, we're going to make an example out of him, and, we're handling that in-house, but, he'll be there on the field next week against the Niners. I don't know why I try to talk like John Gruden.
Dude, your McVay is almost as good as your Trent Baalke.
Okay, we just got our ass kicked again. Jags.
Trent Baalke, by the way, there's a new report, because last week they reported that they were going to keep Baalke as GM, and I guess they heard from coach candidates that wasn't a good idea. So now they're going to let Baalke go after the season.
You think so? Somebody said that?
There was a report. Let me see if I can find it. There was a report today. Here we go. Sources in Jacksonville. Oh, you know what? I think this might be a fake source. Let me see what this guy is. A fake source guy. Come on.
You fell for the okie doke.
Wait, hold on. Here we go. Okay, so there was a report from Jason Lockenfora that the fake insider tried to go over the top and say they were letting go of Trent Baalke, but there was a report from Jason Lockenfora that says Jaguars head coach search, retaining GM Trent Baalke will hinder teams' ability to attract top candidates. So as of now, they are still holding on to Trent Baalke.
As of now.
As of now, yeah. You got to run the football.
Remember, he had everybody calling him Coach
Trent.
Hey, Coach Baalke.
Coach Trent.
Get out of here.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
But anyways, I
they're going to run the football. He sounds like Super Dave Osborne.
He sounds like me, but like way worse. And I thought my voice is terrible. His is like worse than mine.
He sounds like he got kicked in the throat by a mule when he was a kid. Like he was in some kind of an accident. You're not supposed to sound like that.
Yeah. Anyways, I know everybody Trey Lance. I liked it. I was encouraged. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
That's the takeaway. Trey Lance improved as the game went on. Played awesome.
If Jimmy had that same game, same stat line, what would we be saying?
Everyone would have been freaking out and killing Jimmy Garoppolo after the interception, and in the first half, they
killed Trey Lance for it. You didn't see Twitter?
Oh no, there was a lot of it. But it would have been worse. It would have been worse for Jimmy because people were still excited about Trey Lance and like, he's a rookie kind of thing. But I did see some. I did see some people killing Trey Lance as well, and it did not look good. He didn't look comfortable. But he played a lot better in the second half. So
what about after the big throws? So you see the big throws, and you say, hey, that's Jimmy Garoppolo. What are we saying?
I would have been like, what the hell is going on? I would have said, who kidnapped Jimmy Garoppolo? What the heck? I would have been excited for it. That would have been cool to see Jimmy Garoppolo roll out and just uncork one and throw it as hard as he can. He doesn't do that.
I keep telling everybody, like, there's no way that you judge a rookie in his second start the same way you judge an 8-year vet. And I see a lot of that. And to me, that's wild. Well, I don't know what people's expectations were, but my expectations were not, hey, I just want to see where he's at in his progression. And I thought he improved from the first start. That's what I wanted to see. Like, it's literally his second start in the NFL after not playing for a year.
There's no way to expect him to be a finished product. Whatever he was out there today, no idea what's going to carry over from that, what he's going to look like next week, let alone next year. That's a long process. So if he came out and looked the whole game like he looked at the beginning and threw a couple extra picks and looked really bad, guess what? Davis Mills went through that. Mac Jones went through that early in their early start. So it shouldn't be surprising. And in fact, it's almost more impressive how he's looked so far because he hasn't had that really, really bad game. And who knows, maybe he has to start next week and that game happens against the Rams, or maybe that game happens in week 1 of 2022, but it wouldn't be surprising to see that happen and see him play poorly in the first half of this game and to call him a bust that the 49ers missed that pick is just insane.
Listen, I feel confident with saying this, and this is going to put some things into perspective. I would take his first 2 starts this year over any rookie quarterback from this class. And I don't even think it's close. I think his first 2 starts is much better than any other rookie in this class. Any other rookie. You can put it down play for play, stat for stat, bar for bar. His first two starts, from a production standpoint, better than any other rookie in this class.
In their first 2 starts.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's fair. Yeah, because every rookie from this class has had at least one disaster, and we haven't even seen a disaster yet from Trey Lance, even though there was some stuff that's not ideal. But as far as what his resume says and where he should be as a raw quarterback prospect, what we've seen from him so far is obviously nowhere near what he's going to be as a finished prospect and a finished product, but he has not been a disaster, which is
not at all.
Very good sign.
Again, rookie.
Better situation than almost all of those quarterbacks.
There's that aspect of it because Trevor Lawrence is running for his life half the time.
Yes.
But just in the sense of, like, hey, I can play quarterback in the NFL. Like, some of these other guys just look like, what the hell is going on? His what the hell going on moment was completing 10 out of 13 passes and 1 interception. That's his what the hell. That was his what the hell moment.
Yeah. And it didn't look as good as you saying that. It didn't look 10 of 13, 1 interception. It wasn't 1 bad throw. It was like, oh, things are moving fast for him. It didn't necessarily look like what that was on paper, but we've seen that from all the other quarterbacks. So actually, Mac Jones, I'm looking at his stats because I wanted to see what his worst game was actually his 3rd start, where he had the 3 interceptions. That was against the Saints in his 3rd start. His first start, he had a 102.6 pass touchdown, no interceptions, completed 74% of his passes, 29 of 39 throwing. So he actually had a really nice first start. Mac Jones did. Second start, he was 22 of 30 passing for only 186 yards. So very dink and dunk there, but an 89 passer rating. But his third start, he threw 3 interceptions, had to throw it 51 times trying to come back on the Saints. And that's not ideal for a young quarterback. But again, a disaster game and in a loss to the Saints. And he was the most ready quarterback, right? Aside from maybe Trevor Lawrence. But Trevor Lawrence's best receiver this week was Laquan Treadwell. So like tough. Some bad situations for a lot of these quarterbacks. So
I think the week before that, it was like Tavon Austin. Like Tavon Austin was his leading receiver. So it is not ideal. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have, and I saw someone say, hey, that's not Trey Lance's fault. It's not his fault, but just in the sense of what quarterbacks look like, some of those things you have to take into account, having now. Early on, that wasn't the case for Trevor Lawrence, right? Because he did have Marvin Jones, he did have DJ Chalk, he did have Laviska Shenault, James Robinson. He had some ball players.
Yeah, earlier on in the season, he had a lot better. Obviously, the coaching situation was suspect, but he had more playmakers than some of the other rookie quarterbacks early on. And actually, Zach Wilson has a decent group of receivers, but his offensive line's banged up and the defense is awful. And that's another thing, is getting the opportunity. So within this game, what would it have looked like if the game script after the first beginning of the game, after the interception, what if the Texans would have been scoring on the 49ers defense? Now you're behind multiple scores. Can you do what you did in the second half? Because now it's just like, oh, now they're coming after you. You're one-dimensional on offense. And I think that's another aspect of the games that these rookie quarterbacks are going into, because their team is bad. They're behind. Then opposing defensive coordinators are just going after them with pass rushes and blitz. And that happened in this game. Well, Trey Lance didn't recognize a blitz that was coming up the middle. And I think a lot of these rookie quarterbacks really get hit a lot on blitzes because they don't recognize it and they don't get the ball out quick. So they end up getting sacked a bunch of times, and they're just sitting ducks back there because their team is bad, their line is bad, and they have to throw to try to score and come back in a game that they're behind it.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of, Greg Cosell, he talked about that with Mac Jones, where this situation has been, hey, run the ball, play great defense, and then, occasionally you're going to have to make a throw, which he does. But it's a more ideal situation. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Mac Jones. I think he's a terrific young rookie quarterback. Won't be getting rookie of the year. It's definitely going to Jamar Chase. But it's, he's set up in a good situation as opposed to, these other guys, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. And I think, the same could be said for Trey Lance in a better situation. My thing is just, he's still, regardless of that, his shaky look a little funny, but still was respectable in the sense of, okay, he's still playing fine.
We got to get out of here, Croc. I want to say thank you to all the folks who hung out in the chat. We will go more into all the tiebreakers and stuff after we see what happens in the primetime games here. Packers and Vikings on Sunday Night Football. And that game is probably kicking off right about now. We'll get into all the tiebreakers, everything going on with the 49ers. We'll have injury updates. We'll do what we do. We'll take your questions from Twitter as well, at BD Peacock, at Eric_Crocker. Really appreciate you all, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. That's the most important thing. Everybody's watching right now. I know how many of you are. I see you. Hit that subscribe button, and maybe even hit the bell, hit the thumbs up too if you enjoyed the pod, and really appreciate you all. Any parting words, Croc?
I appreciate you guys. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Everybody that's watching on the YouTube right now.
Everyone always wants me to wear more Niners gear. If you
I don't wear Niner gear either. This is the first time, and that's just because I didn't have my Frontline Sports.
Usually like to go to it after a win. You go straight to the Niners hat. Have you tried Wright's Barbecue yet? It's like 20 minutes from Walmart.
Nah, wait.
What town?
Yeah. Is talking about Monticello?
We're talking about Arky Crocky. We're not talking about 209 Crocky anymore.
Yeah, I'm in Arkansas. Country Croc.
Country Croc is right. That's exactly what it is. Hold on. Let me find some Niners paraphernalia. 1 second. Yeah. What is the best? And by the way, if anybody is in Arkansas, let Croc know where the best barbecue is. Where's the best Bay Area barbecue, by the way?
That's a great question. Think about that while he steps away. Best Bay Area barbecue. I lived in San Jose, but I lived in San Jose as a kid. I did live east side San Jose, near Tully Road, off White and Tully, next to Eastridge Mall. So yeah, I lived in San Jose. I went to not Oakwood, Cedar Grove. I went to Cedar Grove Elementary. My brother went to Quimby Oaks Middle School. My brother went to Mount Pleasant High School. My mom, my dad, they all went to Mount Pleasant. So my family's from San Jose. I'm from Stockton, though. Oh, he said Fayetteville. Fayetteville is far from me because I live in southeast Arkansas. Fayetteville is northwest. So it's a good. Oh, but you know what? I did go there. Oh, I did go there.
You went where?
I did go there. That barbecue spot. I went
The
because I went
Fayetteville
up
one?
to because I went up there. I forgot what I was doing. One of the kids I coach and stuff, he had a game up there. So I was with him. I was with his parents and everything with my best friend Donald. And we stopped there. Some of the Arkansas Razorbacks are like, they have like the NIL at that spot. I did go there. Yeah, okay. Wow. I forgot about that. Their brisket was good. It was really good.
I still
I
got my
did go
Jimmy
there.
G bobblehead, even though Trey Lance led the 49ers to victory. So how's that for those that want to see more 49ers gear in my space?
Yeah.
They don't have that Trey Lance bobblehead yet. I'll have to get one of those. Sauced barbecue in Sac. I have had sauced. That is the one barbecue joint I went to in Sac because that's the place that's supposed to be the one that everyone goes to. That's all right.
All right.
You know,
Kansas City is the place for barbecue, to be honest.
oh yeah. I'm kind of getting annoyed at the barbecue scene because it's like, dude, just because you put your food on a metal platter doesn't mean it's like awesome barbecue. Like you could put good barbecue on a regular plate, and I would rather have that than whatever crap you're throwing out there on your metal platter with the paper on top. Like everyone has to serve it the same way because it's barbecue. It's like, dude, just give me the good barbecue. I don't care about the plates that you're putting on. I don't care how much wood is on your walls. Give me some damn good barbecue. Right, Croc? You feel me on that?
Give me some good barbecue. And shout out, I see our guy Wally says RIP Tracks a Million, man. RIP Tracks a Million, one of the Bay Area legends as it pertains to producing and music and beats and stuff like that, man. He was big pivotal person in the like the hyphy movement and all that. So RIP Tracks a Million. I don't know how he died, but I definitely saw that a couple hours ago. It's sad.
All right, we were getting the barbecue Rex rolling in now for sure.
Kansas City for sure. Texas has the best brisket. Nobody does brisket better than Texas. I 1000% agree with that. 1000%. Texas is brisket, but Kansas City, they're known for the barbecue and they do have the best barbecue.
I also agree about the North Carolina mustard sauce. That's my favorite barbecue sauce too. So I'm into that.
Actually, sure. I just said I've been all over, but I have not been to North Carolina.
Oh, hold on, Croc. We got a listener. We got a watcher from Chilean Patagonia. They're watching all the way down in Patagonia. I was watching an episode of that show Alone from Patagonia where there's people out there by themselves. I didn't even know that you had internet connections in Patagonia. Like these dudes were out in the middle of nowhere trying to catch fish on a little fishing line so they could eat. And like warthogs were running wild and bears and all kinds of crazy stuff. So shout out to Patagonia. I didn't know we had any Patagonian listeners. I love that.
Me and Patagonia probably have the same Wi-Fi. That's why it's so damn hard to get good Wi-Fi here in Monticello, Arkansas.
Monticello, Arkansas might as well be Patagonia of the United States.
Yeah, pretty much. Someone called Arkansas the armpit of United States, and
I've heard that.
Come
on, you can't badmouth the place that you live now.
No, I love it here, but it's
Yeah. I don't know what Jinkster's mad about. I should have kept what to myself.
Oh, I think the Patagonia having Wi-Fi.
Patagonia?
Yeah.
Why?
Are you maybe you're saying that they live in poverty?
No, I'm just talking about the show Alone, where they were literally out in the middle of nowhere in Chilean Patagonia. Literally nothing. It was wilderness.
Again, sounds like Southeast Arkansas.
Country of Chile.
I better stop talking about Arkansas. I keep that pistol right by my you hear it right there. So just in case somebody tries to break in here. I have all kind of doors, so
here we go. We got it. This is important because of what we talked about last Winky Wednesday. Is Trey Lance still? No, it wasn't a veggie pizza. It was a take and bake. Is Trey Lance still take and bake and Jimmy G's corn dog?
Trey Lance is still taking bake. That's why, if you had the opportunity right now and all things being equal, you would start Jimmy Garoppolo next week, right? So yeah, Trey Lance, he's still getting prepped right now. He's still getting prepped. We just took the wrapper off and we're preheating the oven. We haven't even put him in the oven just yet.
It was like he went into the oven and then you pulled it out and you're checking to see if it's done yet. But then you got to put it back in the oven, make sure it's fully cooked.
Right.
So he's still taking bake. Pepperoni, jalapeno, pineapple, the official pizza of Locked On 49ers. That was long before you joined the show, Croc. Are you down with the pepperoni, jalapeno, and pineapple combination?
I just ate pineapple pizza right now, pepperoni and pineapple. So I'm a big pineapple pizza person. Matter of fact, I don't know how you eat pizza without pineapples on it. So,
oh, that's going to really piss some people off in the chat. I'm going to get out of here before I see the comments to that one because there's some definite anti-pineapple pizza eaters out there. Patagonian lamb. I'd be interested in that. I would eat that on a pizza as well. All right. Thanks, everybody, for jumping in the chat. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Locked On 49ers every day. We'll be back tomorrow, Croc and I, right here, Locked On 49ers.